Now to a milestone given a lot of attention here in the United States, a new president's first 100 days in office. President Barack Obama reaches that mark Wednesday. VOA's national correspondent Jim Malone has more.
From the very moment of his election, Barack Obama has embodied change.
Because of what we did on this day, in this election, at this defining moment, change has come to America.
That yearning for change was evident at President Obama's inauguration.
I, Barack Hussein Obama, do solemnly swear.
As 1 million Americans jammed the National Mall in Washington to celebrate the rise to power of the nation's first African-American president.
For the world has changed, and we must change with it.
Some of the changes in the first 100 days have been dramatic. Mr. Obama won congressional passage of his massive economic stimulus plan. He also initiated the closure of the detention center at Guantanamo Bay, Cuba, and set a deadline for the withdrawal of most U.S. troops from Iraq by August of 2010. But some of the biggest changes have come in the national mood. Political expert Stuart Rothenberg.
The simple question, is the country headed in the right direction or is it off on the wrong track? There's been a remarkable surge in optimism on that question. So in terms of change, what change has he brought? He has brought that change, a change in the sense of where the country is headed.
Republicans question Mr. Obama's emphasis on diplomacy to deal with U.S. adversaries abroad. They also oppose his proposed cut in taxes for the middle class and his spending to stimulate the economy. Party leaders warn that will produce a mountain of debt for future generations. House Republican leader John Boehner.
The president has offered a budget that will, in my opinion, hurt our economy and destroy the very jobs that we're trying to save and to try to create.
Despite the criticism, Mr. Obama remains popular in public opinion polls. Stephen Hess is with the Brookings Institution.
Whatever he has been doing for 100 days has been very attractive to the American people, in fact, globally, to the people of the world.
But what happens if the economy doesn't begin to turn around? Former Reagan Chief of Staff Ken Duberstein.
It may take 6 months or 9 months. And so the fundamental question is whether the American people will have the patience to ride Barack Obama through these difficult straits.
The public's patience will be put to the test in the days ahead as President Obama prepares to tackle politically divisive issues like health care reform and energy independence. Jim Malone, VOA News, Washington.
Joining us to add perspective is VOA's national correspondent Jim Malone now. Welcome, Jim.
Hi, Vincent.
Now, what is the significance of the 100 days, if we may begin there?
It starts from the administration of Franklin Roosevelt. He took office in the midst of the Great Depression back in 1933, and Roosevelt set the gold standard, if you will, for an active president in his first 100 days, got a lot of legislation passed through Congress, basically took over at a time of economic crisis. So his job was to A, show leadership and also reassure the country that they would be able to emerge from the Great Depression. It took several years, but again, that standard of leadership, I think, is what Roosevelt is remembered for, and it's a standard that Barack Obama and other presidents in the past have striven to match.
Now, given that this fellow has like 4 years, at least in his first term, is the first 100 days the best test of how well he's going to perform?
No, of course not. And I think everyone realizes that there is some media hype associated with this early marker. I think in general, though, it's an indication of what kind of a start a president gets off to. Someone like Roosevelt, someone like Ronald Reagan in 1981, they get off to quick starts in their presidency, and it set the tone for the rest of their term or terms, as the case may be. So it is important to get off to a quick start as a new president, and the 100-day marker is one of those ways to measure that. By contrast, say John Kennedy in 1961, the Bay of Pigs invasion in Cuba, it was a bit of a difficult start for him.
Now, Jim, given that when Barack Obama was sworn in, there was all this, economic crisis globally. There's the war in Iraq, the Guantanamo Bay prison. Was he, or has he been under more intense pressure, perhaps within his first 100 days than his predecessors or some of his predecessors?
Oh, no question. The economy alone is causing him to really do things that, might have been unthinkable before in terms of government intervention in the economy. So we're seeing a very sweeping program. But the opinion polls suggest people are willing to give him time and to support him for the foreseeable future on that, because they know the country's in difficult straits, even though there's been criticism from Republicans that the policies he's pursuing are too much to the left.
Very briefly, Jim, now that the 100 days are going to be over tomorrow, is this like time to say, well, let me take a little rest, take a vacation and rest for a while?
No, if anything, the next 100 days will be much tougher. He wants to get big items through like healthcare reform, energy independence. So the challenges just get tougher from here on out.
Thanks a lot, Jim. Enjoy the weather out there.
Thank you, Vincent.